And I have a process that I do that night and morning. So I'm very grateful. I'm alive, I'm still standing here. But I have been told you've had your 9 lives. You know, cats only get 9. So the time is coming. My daily motto is to make a difference in at least one person's life. So I hope today there's one of you here I'm going to make a difference to, or I got to go and do it somewhere else. Because to me it's really important that I give back to this world and give back to this life that I believe I've been so blessed with, that it's important I have that opportunity, which I get every day, and Facebook and social media as a whole, but especially Facebook, because Facebook is where you can communicate with words. And I can give back by supporting other people to achieve what they want to achieve. Like with Ocean sending me a message, I don't know when it was, yesterday or the day before. Will you mind posting this for me? Of course I didn't mind posting it for him, because I trust him, I believe in him, he's in my network, because if I lose faith with you, you're out of my network. I'm very, very, what's the word I can use? Probably controlling around my network. I only want you in my network if I see that I can do something for you and you're worth it. I believe life is about giving, not taking. And as a writer, you have to know why you're writing and what you want from your writing. And this is really important. I love to write. I have an ongoing series of 5. 3 are completed and 2 are half completed in it. I'm also writing my memoirs at the moment. And I've had a very, very varied life, I assure you. Nothing like what I was brought up with. It's a very, very different life I've lived. And I also have another book, and it's just my aunt's story, actually. So I have a garage full of all her writings. She was a writer, nothing published. But I have all her writings, and I've probably got about 4,000 or 5,000 photos, and I've got her whole everything, my mother's sister. So that's another book for when I've got time to do that. The others have to be finished first. So that's a little bit about me, why I'm here. Being awesome, being authentic. Can you read that up there? It's what the book is about. Awesome authenticity, I'm doing it now. Awesome authenticity in mastering business relationships is about building trust and understanding. The importance of trust and integrity. Because that's how you're going to be judged. Whether you like it or not, you're being judged every day by everything you do. I don't believe in judging people, and anyone who does any work with me, that's the one thing. There's no judgment. That goes out the wall. Who you are is perfect for who you are. It's not for me to judge what you do. I'm not walking in your shoes. I'm walking in mine. Being seen in both personal and business life as real and accountable is how many successful small businesses today bring about changes with authenticity. You'll note up on the corner, there is an owl. I use the owl symbol right through the books, and after this page, I'm going to be using owls to explain. Most people wear masks. It's time those masks came down and you're who you are. Some people will like you and some won't. You're going to like some people and others you won't like. And that's okay. We're all different. We're different personality styles. We have different sensory styles. We communicate as our thinking brain very differently. So unless you understand profiling, and I profile virtually everybody around me, when I meet someone, my brain starts to go over and over and over and over because I'm profiling you. Because I need to know where you sit. Now I'm speaking fairly slowly here today because there's quite a lot of introverts in the room. When I'm speaking normally, I'd be speaking very, very fast, but I'd be speaking like that only to an extrovert. So I'm very aware, and I'm sorry for the introverts in the room if I'm speaking very slowly, but I'm doing it measuredly for a purpose. The greatest thing as an author you can do, or as anyone in business, is to understand your own personality style, who you are. Because that's the way you're going to work out who your niche market is and who your audience is. You've got to know you first, and then who are you writing for. But it's about being real, because not enough people are out there. Social media, by writing on social media about what you're doing and talking about, that's being real. No, I don't put in what I eat, but I talk about what's happening to me. Because it's important. I'm who I am. Whether you like it or you don't, I don't care. But I'm being honest, and I'm being congruent with who I am. And this is really important because not enough people are. So get onto Facebook and start writing about what's happening in your life. You don't have to put some of the yucky stuff in, but talk, let people know you. I'm not going to take you into my network if I don't know who you are. Your profile page is for people to find out who you are. Your business pages are to find out about what you do. Even though you'll bring some of that onto your profile page, but then you'll segment, as Ocean said, with an author. You know, you're an author. So it's really important that you understand that. So as I said earlier about bringing the masks down, authenticity is about letting those masks come down. You're perfect for who you are and what you are. You don't have to be anyone else. So many people, especially down here on the Gold Coast, I find more masks on the Gold Coast than I do in Brisbane. Still plenty there, you're going to get them. The reason I don't work in corporate anymore, and I don't want to work for corporate, even speak to corporate or do work in corporate, as a life coach and a business coach and a facilitator, I don't want to go there because people are told to go there. They don't want to be necessarily there. And also I have to play a game, and I'm not prepared anymore to play a game. I've been out to corporate for probably about 12, 14 years now, 15 years, for that reason, because there's not honesty there. So it's up to how many people here actually work in a business other than their own. Only a few of you. Very hard out there in the workforce when you're doing that, because you have to find out where you compromise and where you don't. Do you cross over your values or don't you cross over your values? It's tough. It's not easy. I opted out working for people a long time ago. Did bits of part-time work because I needed to keep the roof over my head. But I realised that it's not a space I wanted to go into, because I needed to be true to me and who I am. And the only way I could do that was to run my own race. So as authors, you all have that opportunity to run your own race, but understand where that race is and where you want to go with it. And be authentic the way you do it. It's really important. I didn't say everybody here. I said there's a certain number of introverts in the room. Not everybody. No, I haven't seen anyone's writing here other than Ocean's and Jenny's. I just watch your body language. I watch how you interact. I just observe. My job is to observe. So I just observe people. I watch them. I watch, are you hearing me? Aren't you hearing? Are you listening? Are you not listening? For me, it doesn't matter whether you are or you aren't. I'm getting the opportunity to spread my word and what I believe. So for me, that's an honour. I don't expect everybody to like it. That's okay. They don't have to. There's a certain number of introverts in the room, as well as there's a lot of extroverts in the room. And that's okay. The introvert's not likely to talk in the middle of a talk. And the reason this is so, there's a reason why this is important to understand. how people's brains process information. So you can meet them on their level where they're at to communicate with them. You can't do that if you don't understand that. I believe in business, for a business to be successful, there are 3 profiles. None of them would be friends in life necessarily, unless they understood profiling, because they have different skill sets. And in every business, you need 3 lots of different skill sets. And the skill sets in business I need are 2 skill sets, types of sets that are not natural to me, which are not my innate behaviour. Yet, the bulk of my clients now are introverts. I spend more time around introverts than I do extroverts, because I know how to communicate with them and I like them. And normally, we don't naturally like the other half, because an introvert doesn't necessarily talk a lot. They'll listen, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but an extrovert will talk all the time and talk over you. We'll go into that later. Words of importance. In business, there are certain words to me that in all my writing and everything I do, I use all the time, and it's integrity. It's about being real. It's about trust. It's about vision. It's about purpose and legacy. You're all writers. You're leaving a legacy when you've printed. Know who that legacy's for is important, because graveyards are full of people who don't leave anything, because everyone has at least one book in them. I believe that from here. So we don't want to be someone in a graveyard where we've left nothing. That's not why we're on this planet. Resilience, clarity, courage, and being accountable. Those words are the most important words to me in my life and in what I put out there and work with my clients, because to me it's really, really important. You can probably see them all up there, and of course that's not a very good, I'm just realising it's not very, what have I done? Which one do I move to get more? It's not very clear. Anyway, all these are in the book, if that's of interest to you. I'm going to read my first chapter in my book. It's very short, it's not too long. And the one thing when I write probably differently to most people, because I'm one of those fortunate people who can just sit down and start writing. It just flows. People who read my book will always say to me, I'm talking to you, it's you talking. And I say, yeah, it is, because I write as I speak. I hear you asking, what does she mean by being totally authentic and having awesome authenticity? To be awesome is to be awe-inspiring, and by being authentic in all you do and say, changes the way that you are seen by others. It is important in today's business world to be seen for who you are really, by being believable, trusted, and sometimes vulnerable. This also goes for people whether they're in business or not. I believe that there is no difference between who you are in business or in your personal life. The basics of who you are needs to resonate in both. In business today, we need to be awe-inspiringly real. It is all about being yourself and knowing your own self-worth. No one really ever wants you to be someone other than who you really are. Awesomeness comes from deep inside you, and for many people, they're not even aware of their own awesomeness. We all have it and need to acknowledge it and allow the door to open to honesty by setting ourselves free so we can become truly authentic. To be authentic is to be truly real and be who you want to be, not who you think you need to become. It is not about anyone else, it's about you. I might leave that there. That's all right. That's okay. If you're going to be living on purpose, your heart will sing. Because I believe what makes our heart sing means that when it sings, we're doing what we're meant to be doing. How many people here have their heart singing when they do their writing? Isn't it wonderful? Because you're getting an opportunity to express who you really are. And this is important. How many people here who are in the workforce or have a business find their heart sings with what they do every day? Okay. Now, to me, having your heart sing is what life is all about. And I find a way to make my heart sing every day because that's what brings joy. And I believe we're on this earth plane to be joyful because life is about being joyful. It's not about all those other things necessarily. To be on purpose, you need to have a vision and a mission. Your vision is the big picture that you have of what you want to be or to have or to experience. Your mission is how you're going to get there. So how many people here actually have a vision? How many people have done a vision board? 2, 3, 4. Vision boarding is wonderful. I run a workshop twice a year in December and January on goal setting because that's to be the most important time. You can write goals any time, but there is a specific way to write a goal so the goal will become a reality. If you have a vision, or even if you don't have a vision, I suggest you get a big piece of paper, coloured paper. You cut a whole lot of pictures out and you put them on there. Now, if you'd like to know a recipe for how to do that, email me and I'll send you what we call the bagua, which is a feng shui 9 areas where you actually place things on a vision board. Because it's really important you know how to place your pictures. So if you want it, let me know. But your vision's the most important thing. If you don't have a vision, you'll die. And they found years ago that men started to die when they retired at 55. And they started to die because they had no vision after what they were going to do when they went to work. They came home and drove the missus crazy because in those days not a lot of women worked as such. And they found that the reason they died was because they'd given up. They had nothing to aspire to. So if you keep a vision 5 years out, 10 years out, depending on your age, as to what you want, write it. Write as if you're already there. So write it's 2030, depending on your age. 2030, and I am, or my business is, the name, what it is, as you see it. The more clarity you've got. If you can write a really good vision and you can stand up and read that and you burst out crying, you're on it and you've got it. There's no way it won't happen. You've got to feel it. So find your vision if you don't already have one. How many people here got a vision already? Good. If you're writing a book, you need to have a vision. Where do you want it to go? What do you want to do with it? You've got to ask yourself those questions. The what, the why, the who. Who do you need? You've got a group of people here. Who do you need? Where and when? Then your how. How is the very last question you ever ask. Most people, especially an introvert, will automatically go to the how. They've gone to the end. Your vision is not how you're going to do it. Your vision is, what is a vision of what I want? What am I going to create in my life for me? Worry about how you're going to do it later. It doesn't matter. Just be clear in your vision. Accountability. Something I don't see a lot of around the traps these days, unfortunately, which is very sad. If you say you're going to do something, do it. There are times, yes, you can't do it. In these last few weeks for me, I've had to make a lot of phone calls and apologies to people for things I haven't been able to do. But they weren't that important that there was a choice. I was able to reschedule because they were just meetings with people. Clients who know me well know and understand what is happening in my life, so it was easy. But being accountable is really important. And if you're accountable, you're going to move to where you want to go very fast, because that will help you gain the vision that you're looking for. Masterminding creates accountability. I've been running mastermind groups for 10 years. I'm just in the midst of stopping that, but I'm going online for it to go global from a facilitator's perspective, because I don't need that stress in my life anymore. Your identity. Life is about giving, it's not about taking. You know in your own heart if you're a giver or if you're a taker.
Surely they're combined. You're isolating them into two things, a giver and a taker. Surely we're made of both.
We are made of both. But I'm talking about building relationships, and you're there to give. You're there to educate. You're there to support other people. The universe in its wisdom will give you whatever. If you give, you will get it all back tenfold. Introverts listen. An introvert will always be a far better networker than an extrovert, because they listen. So the more you listen, the more you will learn. And if you're going to be a good networker, and I've been doing it for a lot of years now, I know that it's about me learning about other people and understanding other people as to what their needs are. My needs are irrelevant. It's important that I serve the other person. Clarity. Got to have clarity on why you do what you do, and I've got to keep moving a little bit faster. You need to have clarity about why you're doing what you're doing, why you're writing what you're writing. If you're on social media, why you're on social media. What are the outcomes you want? You need to understand that, because if you don't understand it, nothing's going to happen. So choose wisely what you want, because whatever it is you put out there will become your reality, whether you like it or not. So if you put negative stuff out there, your world will be negative. If you put positives out there, your life will be positive. I'm fascinated by the people on social media who have all this negative stuff. Well, they've only got this negative stuff because that's what they're putting out there. I don't get that from my audience. And I will verbally attack anybody online if I see someone do it on someone else's page. It's not acceptable. Your distinction. Well, that's your integrity. And your integrity is essential. And it's different for all of us because we have very, very different values. But as long as you stay within whatever your values are, and values aren't necessarily the values you grew up with as a child, because life can change that depending on who you are. The values you learned from mum and dad may not serve you now. So understand those things. But integrity is the most important thing you have as a human being. So I ask you, are you authentic or are you misaligned? Who you are and what you do, they've got to come together. So you do who you are. And that can be very difficult for business people. And the reason I say that, I had to go into therapy, so I had to learn not to be my business, because I was associated by my business. My business wasn't me. I was me. But I got the persona around what I did. So I got labelled in the market, and I'm still labelled in a market for an area that I don't really even work in anymore. So be aware on, how aligned are you? If you're going to be authentic, you've got to be aligned. Bring those two together, who you are and what you do, it's all one. So without a vision, you can't reach a purpose. So gain your vision if you don't already have one. My why. And I felt this was important that probably I finished off with my why. Because I'm telling you, you should know your why. And my why is to support people to achieve and become who they want to be, not only professionally, but as individuals in their own life. And I do that in a variety of ways. But as long as I'm achieving that at the end of every day, I know I've done my work. And we all as individuals have our work to do. It's really important you understand who it is, what are you doing what you do for, who you're meant to be supporting and changing whose life. So for me, I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered as somebody who kept people accountable. I'm very good at kicking butt, keeping people challenged, and a catalyst for from a perspective that most people don't even consider. I want to provide a platform that helps people achieve their goals and dreams in a safe environment for personal and business growth. I want to be known for supporting people to learn the importance of ongoing relationship building in all areas of their life. I want to deliver, I want to help people grow to be the best they can be using personal development tools that support them in all the areas of their life, because there's no difference. We're the one person. I want to deliver cutting edge platforms using masterminding groups for the good of all participants. And I want to inspire people to gain self-awareness so they shine in their own right, because I believe that is your birthright. So thank you. On time? On time? Thank you. Question? Yes? Well, you'll notice some eyes were open and some were closed. Did you notice some eyes were open and others were in? Yeah. There's a reason for that. Because the eyes open is what is seen, the eyes closed are not what's seen. It's the inner. Because we've got to get the inner part of us right. The owl is the wise. It's all tapping into your own innate wisdom. So I use the owl. Everybody sees me, brings me owls. I have owls everywhere. I love owls actually, but it is a bit overflow, I'll tell you. Yeah. I'm really struggling hearing you, I'm sorry. Moving from introversion. And we have a lot of both of them in us. We don't have just one. It's depending on circumstances, but we have a basic innateness of one over the other. The game changes. Journaling is the most valuable thing you can do. Journaling is the most important thing you do, and every one of my clients I expect them to journal. I don't want to know their journal unless they want to share it. But journaling and writing down every day, the good stuff, the bad stuff. If you're feeling lousy, it's okay to feel lousy. Doesn't matter. But I burnt out 9 times playing the extrovert. I've learned how to stand on a stage and talk. It's not necessarily who I really am, but I've learned the skill because I've needed to do what I wanted to do, but it nearly kills me. So it's knowing who you are and what you are really. My pleasure. Long term they are. An extrovert always do. Okay, but an introvert will ask questions so they don't have to talk. So they listen. An introvert they don't want to talk very much, so they're going to keep asking questions. So the other person can have the floor. So when you network, if you're an introvert, you will network, if you learn how to do it, I used to teach all this, you network very, very differently as an introvert to what you do as an extrovert. An extrovert will just bowl into a room, and depending on their profile is whether they'll come in at the last moment, so everyone's going to turn and look at them, so they're going to make an entrance, or they're just coming naturally. It's going to be different depending on personality styles and where their own personal awareness is. And an introvert, if you're an introvert and you go to a networking event, be the first to arrive and find your space in the room where you're comfortable. Not necessarily. If you put the right people around you and you understand. I use Wealth Dynamics. Does anyone here know Wealth Dynamics? No, Wealth Dynamics is a profiling tool. I've been using profiling tools since 1983. But for a small business person, it's the best profiling system out there, I believe, because it teaches you who you need to put around you. And people need to learn who they need to put around them so that they can be the success they want to be. Because not everybody is good with figures, or not everybody's good with IT, or not everybody's good at standing up on a stage, or not everyone's good at selling, or not everyone's good at doing deals, or they're creative or whatever. Some people are visionary out there, other people are very grounded and they're solid on the ground. We're different. So we have to understand sensory styles as well. That's different. What's your strongest sense? How do you play the world? So you've got to know your senses. To me, it's what I do every day and what I teach. So for me, it's natural. But it's not what people basically know, because I don't know anyone who teaches this stuff. Unfortunately. If kids were taught this stuff, it would change the world. Yep. But it's all about self-awareness. It's about you learning who you are and who you are.
I see everybody at some stage in their life who they are.
Some people are saying aware all their lives. I think that's what I do here.
Can't you have introvert, extrovert people? One person?
Yes. You will go from one to the other depending on the environment you're in. You're not one or the other. You're predominantly one.
And I can live alone.
You will play the other when you need to play the other, but it has a price.
Well, to me, to get up on the stage and read anybody's poetry or writing is no problem at all. And yet I live alone and I can think and lie and just be quiet for long periods of time without any visible, not feeling any type of extremism at all. And yet to get in there, Clive James said is the same. He's
Well, I play both.
It's there.
Because I need to play both. But you're an introvert.
I'm an
You
extrovert.
know how to be the introvert when you're alone.
Yes.
But here again, it depends what happens to you when you're alone.
That's where all my thinking comes from.
You learn silence. I learned silence and that's all.
That's where I learn about my writing is from silence. And my mind, take it in. So coming from anywhere in the world. Being a poetry writer, just into the Hunter Valley short story writing competition. I'm really quite pleased about that.
I want to ask you if you had any news.
2,000 words or something. And I thought, I've written a lot of short stories, and this particular one, I thought, no, I like it, and I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to send it, and that is my aim, or what you're saying is your vision, is if I could get a place in that, I'm really so thrilled to suppose.
Very short term.
But vision's going to be something else.
Yeah, well, you need to have something else. That's just one of the things.
Well, I'm always writing poetry. It's not.
Thank you very much, everybody. I do appreciate you having me here. Thank you very much.
Okie dokie. Now, Ginny's book's obviously available today. Come up and see her. They're $20. You do not want to miss out on this. It's a fantastic book. Let's do a bit of next month. Hey, you want to know what's happening next month? Do? That's better. Feel the power. All right. Next month, we are going to do something completely different. We're going to look at your book as a business. So we're going to have a panel discussion. There'll be 2 committee members, and we're also going to be bringing someone live through a stream as well that are going to establish why you have to look at your book as a business. We've got another foundation wordstone similar to what Karen did today, and this will be Bev. What are you doing, Bev? I can't even read my own writing.
I'm going to talk to people about how you write numbers.
Hey, nice. And we've got Gail McHugh coming. Who knows Gail? She's an absolute star. She's a Gold Coast local, and she's going to be talking about minding money and being business savvy. You know what I really liked about today was the message of having faith in yourself with your social media, being resilient in our choices that we make in life, having a clear vision, and as authors, you do have to have one. And it could be as big as you want. Shoot for the stars, guys. Thank you all for coming today. Make sure you connect with each other and have a wonderful weekend.